Hey guys, I am really excited for today's video for many reasons. This is my first video back filming since my vacation to New York. So a vlog is coming, not of New York unfortunately, but just after we got back to Las Vegas. I just couldn't bring myself to vlog while I was in New York. Anyway, more to come. Look out for that vlog if you're interested. But today we are going to be talking about the brand new Chanel Tweed quads. Wow, these are gorgeous in every way, shape, or form. So I have all four of the quads, and what I'm gonna do is an eye look from each. I'm gonna show you some close-ups of the quads, swatches, you know the deal. So two of these quads, number 1 and number 3, I actually received from a good friend here that I made on YouTube and Instagram. She actually sent these to me when they were available in Asia, like earlier this year or like last year at some point. So I just sort of like held on to them. I never used them. I thought hopefully they'll come to the US, and when they do, I'll be able to, do a video for you guys. And lo and behold, here we are. They were released here in the US. So she sent me 1 and 3. And then when they were released here at the Chanel boutiques, I ordered number 2 and number 4. So those just arrived. They were sitting on my doorstep when I arrived back to Vegas from New York. So why don't I go ahead and show you what these quads look like. So there are 4 of these, and they all come in the basic black packaging, but the case to them is a tweed, and each tweed is a little bit different depending on the colorway. So I thought that was really, really nice. But let's go ahead and start with number 1, which is Tweed Pkwy. I'm sure I'm slaughtering that. So first, here's a close-up of the tweed pouch. I'm doing close-ups of the tweed pouches because they are slightly different for each one. And here's a close-up of the actual quad. So gorgeous, really beautiful, like rich browns. And the shades in here, I would say, are pretty neutral. The browns, I don't think lean either too like purpley, too cool toned. They also don't lean too like orange toned or too warm toned either. So this is a really beautiful, like rich, neutral palette. Here are some swatches of the 4 shades. So that's number 1, Tweed Pkwy. Number 2 is Tweed Pkwy. This one has like more purpley pinky tones to it. So here first is a close-up of this tweed pouch, and I hope you guys can see the differences here, but this one has a little bit of pink, a little bit of purple running through the tweed pouch, which I thought was really pretty. Here is a close-up of the palette. And here are swatches of the 4 shades. And this one, I will say, out of all 4, swatched the lightest, but we'll definitely have to play with them actually on my eyes. Swatching can always be a little tricky. So I just wanted to mention that these did swatch the lightest. But if you're really into plums and sort of like cooler toned makeup looks, I think this is the palette you're probably gonna gravitate towards. And then number 3, we had Tweed Fauve. Wow, I know I'm slaughtering that. This is, I would say, the warmest palette out of all of them. And here is a close-up of the pouch. So we have like peaches and corals kind of running through that tweed. Here's a close-up of the quad. And I just love, love, love the tweed imprint that each of the pans have. All the attention to detail on these quads is just phenomenal. So here are the 4 swatches of the shades. Really gorgeous. Last but not least, we have Tweed Brune et Rose. And this one, here, let me show you the pouch first. So this pouch, you can see it has like a grayish brown tweed running through, and also like a very like light kind of ballet pink running through as well. And here's a close-up of this palette. Really beautiful, slightly on the cooler side. And we've got that really bright metallic pink in the lower right-hand corner, just really gorgeous. Here are the swatches for these shades. And all of these shades have a really beautiful creaminess to them. So even the shades that lack a shimmer, they're more of like a soft matte. They don't really have like a really flat dryness to them. They're really, really creamy looking. At least that's how the swatches were. So let's start by putting these on my eyes. So I think what I'm gonna do is do, 1 quad per eye. Basically, I'll do 2, take those off, and then I'll do 3 and 4. So let's start with number 1. Again, that's Tweed Pkwy. God, so embarrassing. Tweed Pkwy. I know that's wrong. And this is the very neutral brown toned one with the gold in there. And I think I should be able to, you know, figure out how to use all four on my eyes just so I can illustrate to you all the shades. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the lighter brown in the top right-hand corner here. And I start with a fluffy blender brush. This is the Refer number 15 brush. And I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of this. I wanna see how pigmented they are actually on the eyes. They seemed very pigmented when I finger swatched them, but you never know. So I'm just gonna start on the outer corner here. Oh, and if you're interested in what other makeup I have on, I will list that down below in the description box, but I have very little makeup because I'm gonna be taking off all of this eye makeup. I didn't bother putting highlight down. I didn't bother actually putting any foundation down. I just have concealer down around my eyes and some blush, eyebrow, and lips. So that's all I have on. But again, all of it will be listed down below in the description box if you're interested in what I have on. Yeah, these shadows are very pigmented. I'm picking up just the littlest bit, and I feel like it's going quite a ways there. And just brushing lightly all over the lid. Oh, and if my hair looks different to you, it's because I got it cut while I was in New York, but I also got a keratin treatment. So these baby hairs are behaving a little bit better these days, don't you think? Anyway, I talk about it a lot more in my vlog if you're interested, but that's what you're seeing here. So that shade has like a little bit, like a subtle kind of like metallic sheen to it. Really pretty. God, that's a great like one and done shade, isn't it? But we're gonna move forward. I'm gonna use the same brush. I'm gonna go into the deeper brown shade, the top left-hand corner, and really focus that. I should actually probably use a smaller brush. Oh well, let's see what happens. I'm gonna focus this on the outer corner, just add a little bit of dimension. And I'm just patting that down since I really want to focus it right here. I'm not really brushing too much. Now I'm going to turn the brush over to like the cleaner side and just blend that out. Yeah, these shadows are really pigmented. I'm not picking up much product at all. Oh, I'm doing both of my eyes. Wow, I'm such a dummy. Well, that's okay. All right, I've got my Sonia G Worker 3 brush here. I'm going to go into this like camel khaki shade at the bottom, and this is a really beautiful metallic shade as well. It's probably a little bit shinier than the two brown shades, and I'm just going to put it all over the lid here. And then this shade down here, this gold shade, is like a topper shade, so I'm going to use my finger actually and just run over this shade. Actually, you can see that it's kind of like a topper there on my finger. I'm not sure if the swatch illustrated that well enough, but I'm just going to focus that on the inner portion of my lid over towards the center. I have a little bit of fallout from that last topper shade. I don't know if you can see it right here, but those are all 4 shades down. I'm not gonna, you know, add eyeliner or mascara. That's like too hard to remove. But those are the 4 shades applied. So pretty. If you're like a brown, rich chocolatey brown lover, you're gonna love this one. Wow. And I am like quite impressed with the quality of the Chanel quads. I want to say most of the time I really like Chanel quads. They work for me. Every once in a while they're kind of a miss, and I have to say I was a little bit worried about these because I thought all of the energy would go into the packaging and the presentation of it. Everyone like loving the little pouches and the imprint, and I thought maybe the shadows won't be so great, but so far the shadows are really, really great. I was impressed with them when I finger swatched them, but yeah, they're applying really nicely too. All right, let me go ahead and remove this eye look and we'll move on to number 2. Well, here's the danger of doing a bunch of different eye looks at once. I have a lot of that gold kind of hanging out. So just FYI, that gold topper shade, you're gonna live with that for a while if you use it. I'm putting down concealer again. Hopefully it will camouflage that gold, yeah, that left behind. We'll see. Yeah, mostly. Okay, great. Let's move on to number 2, which was, I've already lost it. What's going on? Tweed Pkwy. So that is this guy. And this is the one that's swatched a little more faintly than the rest of them. So we'll have to see how it actually applies. I am gonna start with this top left shade, which is the coolest. It's like a grayish purple, like a mauve. And I'm going to pretty much brush that all over. I'm gonna focus it on the outer corner and my lash line. Yeah, and if you can see any gold sparkle, just ignore that. That's not part of this squad. It's part of the other one. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is applying much more lightly than the other palette. Like I feel like I'm picking up more product, and the result I'm getting on my eyelids, it's nice. It's an even sort of application, but it is lighter. So I have to know, do we have any Chanel fanatics out there that went and purchased 2 of each of these? One to use and one to hold on to in its pristine condition because of the tweed imprint. Every time I go into one of these pans, it like hurts my heart. But makeup is to be used, right? All right, so there is that one shade all over the lid. I am going to, I don't know, I guess I'll move to this shade, which is the deepest one. I feel like there isn't a lot of contrast between these 3 shades, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. I'm just going to use the same brush, go into that deeper purple, and see if I can build some dimension with it. A little bit. Yeah, these are faint, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You guys know I'm not really into like overly pigmented, overly saturated makeup. I do like makeup that builds up, but definitely want to point that out, especially if you're someone that does like really saturated, pigmented makeup. A little bit. I think it gave me a little bit of dimension. It's a little bit deeper than the other shade, but man, these are all really, really close. And the fact that they are a little bit more lightly pigmented, I think really emphasizes how similar these shades are. Okay, let me go into this pink shade up here, which is very, very pretty. And I'm going to use a natural haired brush just to see if that changes up what I think about the pigmentation. No, not really. It's still pretty light. Can you guys even see this light pink? It has a little bit of a satin finish to it. So it's brightening up that inner corner a little bit, but it is very subtle. This is a very subtle quad. And then we've got this shade down here. I use these 2. I don't know if this is even going to show up anywhere. Let me try putting it like in the transition area. See what happens. I'll use like a really fluffy kind of brush. Okay, those are all 4 shades down. So that first shade all over the lid, the deeper shade on the outer corner, the pink in the inner corner, and then that shade that I wasn't sure if that was going to show up, this guy, I just have that in my socket line, like transition area. I think that worked out nicely. And the more I look at my eye look and the more I think about the colors in here, I do like that they kind of tone down the pigmentation a little bit. Otherwise, I feel like it would just be too bold, and I'm not sure if that's very in line with Chanel. This is a much more kind of subtle look. All right, so that is number 2, Tweed Pkwy, as I continue to slaughter the French language. All right, let me go ahead and remove this eye look, and we'll move on to number 3. All right, number 3 is the warm one, right? Okay, that's number 1. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Number 4. Number 3, Tweed Fauve. It is this one. Now this one I think has the exact opposite characteristic as the previous one, which I felt like those 3 shades were really similar. These are all very, very different. I think they're all going to show up like nicely. So I'm going to start with the peach shade here and just going to apply that everywhere. This has a really nice soft satin finish. Now I'm going to go into this rusty shade over here. This is such an interesting color story for Chanel, don't you think? Yeah, I feel like this is like a really warm shade and the rest are fairly neutral. Using my Refer 15 brush, going into that rusty shade. And just adding that to the outer corner and then lightly into that socket line. Ooh, these play really well together. Nice. I'm picking up just the littlest bit of this rust shade just because I don't want my eye look to get too orangey, you know? And it is behaving. I am able to build it up a little bit. I just picked up a little bit more product, but it's blending out really beautifully. I'm gonna take this Sonia G Builder brush and go into the gold shade and apply that on top here. Nice little shimmer. And I'm going to take a liner brush like this T15 and go into the deeper, or deepest shade, I should say, this one. And just press this into my lash line. I want to see how this works as a liner. Oh, that works pretty well. Yeah, some liners just aren't like intense enough, even if they are a deep color, but this one is working pretty well. That's great. That's a nice option for that deep shade. All right, there is number 3 applied. This one I like a little bit more than I thought I would. Like I said, I was kind of thrown off by the shades that they picked to kind of go together, but it really works. I think this russet shade isn't quite as bold as I thought it was going to be, as it looks in the pan. And then this like peachy shade looks really pretty, and the gold shade, they really kind of like bring everything together. Yeah, these two shades, I feel like bring everything together. Nice. All right, so that is number 3. Tweed, let me ruin it again. Tweed Fauve. Okay, I have to admit, I'm glad this is the last one because my eyelids are starting to burn a little bit. All right. All right, we are all set. So number 4, you know, this particular palette reminds me, and I wish I could remember the name or whatever, but the very first Chanel quad I ever purchased was in college. I saved up all my pennies and I think I went to Macy's in Herald Square and I purchased a Chanel quad, and it was very similar to this. The like light pink shade was just a matte. I think all of the shades were just kind of like a soft matte. But it had a very similar color story to this. It's definitely discontinued because I don't see it on their site anymore. Yeah, and I wish I could remember the name. But anyway, very reminiscent of the very first Chanel quad I ever purchased. All right, I'm going to go into this middle brown shade. So these two are very, very close in my book. This one's deep enough, I think, to stand out, and this obviously is very different. But these two shades are kind of close. So let's see if we can actually kind of see the difference between those two on the lid. All right, so I'm gonna go into that middle intensity brown and I'll work this in the outer corner. Now, when I had all 4 of these quads in my hand, I thought this one was gonna be my favorite. I don't know yet, but this was the one that I was most excited for because these browns are on the cooler side. They're very taupey. So, as you guys know, I love taupe. And I was very excited for this. And it reminded me of the first quad that I purchased from Chanel. Okay, so that is the mid-tone brown, which is a really nice, cool taupe color. Really pretty. I'm gonna grab, I'm like running out of blender brushes here. Grab a different blender brush and go into the lighter brown shade over here and just see if we can see a difference between the two. Yeah, I think you can definitely see a difference. I think what helps is I think this lighter shade has more of a metallic kind of sheen to it, a soft shimmer. And then I'm just gonna use my finger and grab some of this really pretty light ballet pink and just press that onto the center of my lid here. Wow, that's really frosty. Pretty. And then I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the last quad. I'm going to use this deep brown as a liner. It's funny, this brown looks deeper to me than the one in the previous quad, but it's not lining quite as nicely. I mean, it's doing the job. I think you can see the difference between this eye and this eye, but it's not quite as dark as the other one, or at least it's not applying that way. All right, there is number 4 on the eyes. So since this is the last one I'm doing, I'm gonna go ahead and actually add some mascara, and I'll be right back. Oh, so in my Chanel package, Gio, my essay over at the Miami Chanel boutique, I usually leave his information in my description box when I use stuff that he sent me. I'll do it again. I'll leave, you know, if you ever want to hook up with Chanel Beauty, I'll leave his info down below in my description box. Anyway, he included this sample of the Noir Allure mascara. I think this is is this a new mascara? I'm not that hip on my mascaras. I don't know if this is a new mascara or if they came out with a new shade, which look kind of red. I'm not exactly sure, but anyway, this is the mascara I'm gonna throw on, and I've never used this one before. So here's a little sample size. Oh my God, I love how it is the full size of the mascara wand, of course, but it's on this stubby little cap. So this looks like a lengthening and separating type of mascara, which I am usually down for. It has like the kind of like plastic bristles and they're really far apart as opposed to those like natural bushy kind of wands. Those I believe are more for volumizing. Chanel mascaras rarely disappoint. I usually am fine with them. All right, well, that was all of the new Tweed quads. Swatched for you, demoed for you. I hope you found that helpful. Like I said, I purchased 2 of them off of the Chanel site, but I think they're all available on Nordstrom. Of course, I'll link to it down below in my description box, but I hope you found that helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions down below in my comment section. Let me know what you think down below in my comment section, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.